Hello everyone, Rurikhan here, and today I'm going to be speaking a little bit about the Sony PlayStation 4 meeting event 2013 thingy. Whatever the hell you want to call that thing. And let me just start by saying that I didn't really appreciate it that much. And why would I say this? I mean, bear in mind that while I'm basically criticizing this particular presentation here a little bit, you need to understand that I am most likely going to buy a PlayStation 4 simply because I'm kind of invested in the PlayStation ecosystem, so to speak, because like I said, I think it was 2010, I had to make a choice between the PlayStation 3 and the Xbox 360, all that stuff. I picked my PlayStation 3. It was really when I started getting into console gaming, and recently I even bought a PlayStation Vita, and I'm signed up for quite some time with PlayStation Plus program, so I'm kind of invested in the Sony ecosystem. And this meeting didn't really discourage me, like said, oh my god, PlayStation is going down the drain, it's terrible. No, nothing like that. I just have to say that I didn't really like the way they conducted the presentation, because the whole thing, what it felt like to me, was a hype presentation. It was just a presentation to generate buzz, to tell people that the PlayStation 4 is coming. But I mean, I don't think anyone doubted that the PlayStation 4 was coming. I mean, anyone who doubted that was probably not really that into the gaming industry to begin with. Everybody knows the PlayStation 3 is pretty much at the peak of the best that it's probably ever going to look. Especially, I think one of the games that's really going to showcase the potential of the PlayStation 3 is going to be Last of Us. And I think that particular game is going to be what the PlayStation 3 is going to peak at. But regardless of whether people think that is going to be the case or not, because I'm not here to discuss that, I mean, everybody knew the PlayStation 4 was coming, so it wasn't really necessary for Sony to do an event just to say, look, we're working on the PlayStation 4. Because we were like, yeah. I mean, probably I would say 90% of the people that watched this event were people that are already interested and invested in the PlayStation universe, and are people that like already know that the PlayStation 4 is coming. So to us, it's not like, oh, breaking news, you guys are working on the PlayStation 4. Okay. So, yeah, that's one of the things that kind of disappointed me, because they did all this presentation on the PlayStation 4, and not once have they shown the console. At least I didn't see it, because the stream was kind of laggy, so I might have skipped over it. But I don't think they actually shown the console, because I've had to refresh my browser a couple of times, I'll be honest, because the stream would drop dead, whatever. So I had to refresh my browser a couple of times, so I might have missed something, but I don't think they've actually shown the console itself. They shown the controller, which pretty much told me, like, so what are you guys trying to do? You're trying to pull a Nintendo here, trying to say that, oh, the console doesn't matter, that the controller is the thing. And I was like, I really wanted to see the console. I wanted to see what it looked like. I wanted to know more details about the specs, and that stuff was not really said. And I was just disappointed with that is all. But anyways, let's go over what they talked about. I mean, they started by talking about the PlayStation Vita. You guys already know what I think about the Vita. I think the Vita is a great platform. I think it's really cool. But let's keep going here. I just want to make sure that I pointed something out. I'm sorry, I'm doing this kind of right after talking about the thing. I'm just trying to see if I put, yeah, okay, it's there. I just wanted to see a specific topic, that if it was there or not, because they might have talked about it before what I'm going to talk about next, but whatever, they didn't. So they talked about the PlayStation Vita. You guys already know what I think about the PlayStation Vita, and to me that was already a mistake, because I mean, this whole press event is supposed to be about the PlayStation 4. So as far as I'm concerned, the first thing you need to open with is like, look, PlayStation 4 right here, this is what it looks like, it's going to be amazing, and all this kinds of that would have been a lot more excited. Instead, they just kind of bring out the dude who's working on it. I didn't even point down names or anything like that. They brought out the dude who's mostly responsible for the development of the PlayStation 4, whatever. And he said that basically the architecture of the PlayStation 4 is going to be a supercharged PC architecture, which pretty much means it's going to be built from PC hardware that's based around PCs, but it's going to be customly built for the PlayStation to try and squeeze as much juice out of it as possible. At least that's the way I read into it. It's going to have an x86 CPU. It's going to have what they call an enhanced PC GPU, so they actually did not confirm if it was ATI or NVIDIA. It's going to have 8 gigabytes of RAM, and it's going to have a hard drive. Hooray. That's not really a lot of details. We would really like to know more. So the leaks that have been exposed before this, at least when I was looking for the information about the PlayStation 4, the leaks indicate that most likely it's going to be an AMD CPU and an ATI graphics card. That is most likely what it's going to be, although I don't know. Okay, so don't take this information as fact. This was leaks that were given out, and that's really all I can say. So all they said during the presentation that I heard, unless it was during one of the parts where I had to refresh my browser, all they said was enhanced PC GPU. Like I said, I believe it's going to be an ATI graphics card, not 100% sure. Then they showed the controller, which was a DualShock, which they call a DualShock 4, which is pretty much the same design as the DualShock 3. The triggers look a little bit different. It also had some kind of a light bar that looked kind of like the stuff that you find at the tip of the Move, but it was just embedded into the controller. So I think they're going to do something with it, because there was this device that it's a peripheral thing that they showed at the same time as they showed the controller. And that particular peripheral, the only thing I could really say about it is it looked like a Kinect. It looked just like a Kinect. And if that is the case, I really hope that is something optional, because otherwise it's going to basically screw up my whole setup, because the way I have things set up in my desk right now, I have no place to put a Kinect-like device, which is going to be a big problem for me. Because here's the thing, I don't play my PlayStation on the couch. I play my PlayStation on a desk, because that's what I need in order to record. So please don't force me to play my PlayStation on the couch, because otherwise I'm not going to be able to record it. So I don't know. I don't know how that's going to work out for me. But again, they showed this Kinect-like device, and they said this is going to enable us to make all these really custom-built experiences and stuff like that. And in my head, all I could really see is like, a Kinect. Why is there a Kinect-like device there? Why? Why does it need to exist? But okay, they went that route, so that's what they showed together with the controller. The one thing I liked is the fact that they're fiddling about with the triggers. Hopefully they can get something better, because I'll be honest, some of the games that are, there's some games that are basically developed first for the Xbox 360 and then ported over to the PlayStation 3. Those games really like to use the L2 and R2 triggers, and these triggers are particularly problematic in some situations. Like, I'll give you my last one was during DMC, where these two triggers would be for Angel mode and Demon mode, and it's like, it's a problem for me to keep these triggers pressed for long. Don't ask me why, it's just the way I play. It's a lot easier for me to press shoulder buttons than press these triggers, and these triggers kind of slip, you know? It's like, oh, it slips, you know? So it's like, I'm glad they're doing something about the triggers, but that's really all that needed to be done. But now the new controller also has this share button that allows you to upload videos onto Ustream. No, it allows you to live stream videos onto Ustream and upload videos to Facebook. I'm not exactly sure where the thing uploads videos to. I would very much like it to upload videos to YouTube. That would be really, really useful, but I don't know if that's the case. So it has a share button, and it also has some kind of a touchpad. They didn't really show a lot of functionality with the touchpad. At least me personally, I didn't notice it. So then they also showed the Unreal Engine from Epic Games running on the PlayStation 4. And I have to say, at this particular point, I was watching the live stream together with Sidestrafe on a Skype call. And it's like, I'm not sure if the stream itself was lagging, but when they were showing the demo of the Unreal Engine, it felt kind of choppy on some of the stuff, and I was like, is this the live stream or is this kind of choppy? And Sidestrafe said, feels kind of choppy for me as well. So I'm wondering, it could be the live stream though, because both of us had extreme difficulties with the live stream. Like we kept having to switch between HD and 480p, and we're talking about two people who have some really good internet connections right now. Like my internet connection at the time is like 120 megabits down and 7 megabits up. His is 25 down, 25 up. So it's like we got pretty decent internet connections, and if we were having problems with the stream, I can't imagine people with crappier connections how it was for them. But I don't know. So once they did the whole Unreal Engine thing, they showed a new game which was called Knack with a K. And apparently the guy who's mostly responsible for the development, not the development, what was the guy called? I forget. It was some guy they put on stage, which basically was like the lead design director for PlayStation 4, something like that. It was the guy mostly responsible for it. He was working on a game for PlayStation 4, which was called Knack. And I watched a little bit of the gameplay, and I'm like, don't really care that much about that particular game. Don't know. So yeah, they showed that game, and then they talked about how the new PlayStation is going to have a specific processor for, is it a processor they call it, or a special chip? I don't know exactly what they call it, but it's going to have something that's going to allow for background tasks to be executed, so that it has a specific, it has like a specific processor chip dedicated to games, and then it has a separate one just for your background stuff. A friend of mine commented with me, and he was like, so why can't they just use this other chip to just squeeze more juice out of it instead of using it for background tasks? And my thought is like, well, I kind of get it. It's probably a less powerful chip. I don't know exactly what they're doing with that, but I understand that currently the PlayStation 3 does not support a lot of background tasks. In fact, when you're in the game and you press the home button, it's not really the home button, it's whatever, the thing that takes you to the XMB menu. Whenever you press that button, you will notice that the thing is kind of choppy because you're actually running the game. You'll notice that that thing is kind of choppy. So it kind of makes sense to have a better user experience, to have a specific chip dedicated to that. So then they talked about how the new PlayStation is going to support basically suspend and resume. So you press the power button, doing whatever it is that you happen to be doing, you press the power button, console shuts down. It doesn't really shut down and goes into this power save mode, whatever the hell you want to call it. And then whenever you want to get back into your game, you just turn the console back on again, and you're exactly where you were. So this is very convenient, obviously, but I mean, it's not this really groundbreaking thing. It's just something that's convenient, but it's that particular thing, I feel it's kind of cool because that's what I do with my Vita. It's something that you can do with your Vita. It's like you're playing a game and you're like, oh, I need to take a break. Boop. You press the power button, thing shuts down, almost completely goes into power save mode. Then you can put it back up again and just continue playing whenever. So it is convenient. There's a lot of convenience with that specific feature, but it's nothing groundbreaking. Now, something that they did is actually something that I liked, which is when you're downloading a game, you're going to be able to start playing the game while it's being downloaded. So like you'll download a little bit of the game and then you'll be able to just start playing straight up. Now there are several games that have done that on the PC, namely a lot of free-to-play games are using free-to-play MMOs are using this kind of technology. Like I noticed recently I installed Terra, and the US version of the Terra client does this. But there's other games. I know World of Warcraft also does this, and there's actually a lot of games on the PC that do this right now, and apparently they're going to be supporting the same thing for the PlayStation 4, which, even though it's cool, it's, again, not really a groundbreaking feature. Also, the PlayStation 4 is going to be able to live stream your gameplay onto Ustream, which is something that I got a question. Why Ustream? I mean, if you're going to be live streaming gameplay, wouldn't it be more logical to go to basically a live streaming service that is specific to gameplay, like Twitch.tv? I'm just talking from a logical standpoint because, to be completely honest, I don't have a horse in this race because I can live stream anywhere I want with the setup I currently have. It's just, again, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. Why live stream onto Ustream of all things? As a matter of fact, I noticed that the the event stream itself was through Ustream, if I'm not mistaken. So I was just like, I don't get it. I guess that Twitch maybe wasn't interested in a partnership with Sony, which again doesn't really make a lot of sense, or that Sony is just maybe not that well informed. Once again, that would not make a lot of sense. Or maybe Sony and Twitch didn't get along, couldn't play well together. I don't know. One of those things happened, because let's be honest, if you're talking about live streaming games, everybody's thinking about twitch.tv. That's just the way it's going to be. On top of live streaming, you'll also be able to edit small clips, and I'm not sure if it's going to also allow you to just upload big clips or what's going to happen with that, but basically at any point in time, you can press the share button on your controller and you can select the last couple of minutes, or I don't know, maybe hours of your gameplay session and upload that somewhere, but I'm not exactly sure if they actually mentioned where that would go. I know that it will eventually pop up on Facebook, because they made a big deal out of Facebook and Ustream. So it's probably going to pop out on Facebook, but I'm not sure if it's going to actually be uploaded onto Facebook. It would make a lot more sense if it was uploaded onto YouTube, and it would also be a whole lot more convenient. It would also be convenient if they could live stream to YouTube. Hopefully this live stream service is something that will remain open and that it's not a Ustream exclusive, but I'm not sure, because the way they kind of handled the whole thing, it seems like it's going to be exclusive to Ustream. So, no. Something else that players are going to be able to do is take over friends' games to help them out. So what does this mean? Obviously, through the use of their Gaikai technology or something like that, you're able to watch while other people are well, I'm not exactly sure if that's related to the Gaikai technology, because the Gaikai technology kind of comes in a little bit after. But basically, you're able to watch your friends play, kind of like a stalker. No, but seriously, you're able to watch your friends play, and you're going to be able to communicate with your friends while they're playing. And there's even sections that apparently you can just kind of like tell them, look, let me just take over and I'll play this part of the game for you. And you can actually play a section of the game for them and then resume control to them, I assume. So that's actually kind of cool. I particularly think that's going to be very, very cool if it is implemented in Dark Souls. Because, I mean, can you guys imagine that? Like people helping each other out to a whole new level in Dark Souls? I think that would be cool. Although I'm probably going to get a lot of requests. Say, Rurikhan, help me kill this boss. But it's all good. I'm going to try and help people out as much as I possibly can. But again, I think that is actually a really, really cool thing. So obviously they're going to have a lot of social features in the new PlayStation Store. They also showed the new home screen, and I have to say it looked a lot like the Xbox Marketplace, I think. I'm not sure how much I like that. I mean, to me, what you guys really need to do, get as close to the experience that we have in the Vita right now. That's what you got to do, because the Vita is really, really cool. I mean, the XMB was cool for as long as it lasted, but if you got to change to something, stick to the Vita. The Vita is doing it right, especially on the PlayStation Store. It is perfect. The Vita is the way to go. So if I'm not exactly sure how far into development they are with that stuff, but my advice is stick to the PlayStation Vita style, because that's the way people want it. They want it extremely simple. They don't want to be marketed stuff that they don't want. So that's something. Also, something else they said is that they want to be able to predict the stuff that you like. This was kind of creepy, and a feature that I was like, I'm not exactly sure I want you guys to do that. And to me, it doesn't really make a difference, but there's some people whose internet connection is limited. I mean, I'm assuming they're going to put like a toggle feature to this particular thing I'm going to talk about now. But basically what they were saying is that through your interaction with the PSN network and whatnot, through the games that you've bought in the past and the games that you look at and the trailers that you look and the demos that you play, all the information basically that the PSN can squeeze out of you, they're going to try and predict games that you like and download them for you ahead of time. So you don't even have to buy a game. It's like by the time you go to buy it, it's already downloaded and installed onto your console. All you got to do is buy it to unlock it. And I was like, I don't know how well this feature will work, especially like if I look at my PlayStation 3 right now, which is just chuck full of games because of PlayStation Plus. Whenever I want to put something else in there, I have to delete stuff. I'm not so sure I can trust Sony to basically try and manage my hard drive space unless it's like a ridiculously large hard drive. I don't know, because I mean, currently mine is what, 250 gigs, I think? Well, 250 gigs is pretty old. I mean, I assume the new one's going to come with 1 terabyte. Don't know, because again, they didn't really set it. One thing I definitely hope is give me a hard drive with at least 7,200 RPM, because the PlayStation 3 only has 5,400 RPM on its hard drive. So yeah, let's try and get them hard drives at least faster. I was also a little bit disappointed because I was kind of hoping maybe it will bring an SSD, maybe, but no, it's going to be a hard drive. And I can understand why, because I mean, they can't go too hardcore on the price, because otherwise it's going to be another PlayStation 3 launch fiasco, which pretty much not a whole lot of people are going to be able to afford it. Not a whole lot of people are going to be buying it. So let's try and keep that price kind of low. Although they better squeeze the crap out of those PC components they're talking about. Anyways, then they came with the Gaikai guy, because as you guys know, Sony bought the Gaikai dudes. And for those of you who do not know what Gaikai is, you probably should look them up. But basically, if you have an idea of what OnLive is, it's the same thing. Basically, it's technology that allows you to stream games as opposed to actually running them. So like all the processing and all that stuff is done on a server, and the game is streamed to you via video through advanced codecs and whatnot to reduce latency as much as possible. And what that does for you is, since all the horsepower is being run on a server, it allows you to play like Crysis 3 on a really old computer, stuff like that. So that is what Gaikai does. They have the technology to stream games onto your computer or your iOS device, whatever. They have the technology to stream games, as opposed to you playing the game on your machine. The game is being streamed to you. Now, obviously, this has its downsides, because you will see some compression, you will have maybe some latency issues, and it will only work as good as your internet allows it, as well as your, it's not just about how good your internet is, it's about how good your connection to the server is. So how far away you are will also influence it. So that's something that is very, very troublesome, even though it is a feature that to me sounds like it's going to be amazing. It's going to be very problematic for me to access those features because I'm in Portugal. And regardless of how fast my internet is, if it's going to require me to connect to a server, let's say in Germany or something, it's still a little bit far away. There's going to be some latency, some issues, and the experience is not going to be as good as it could have been. But what do they do with this streaming technology? I mean, they brought the Gaikai guy, and he just started talking about a couple of features that they're going to be adding onto the store. And something that I actually think is going to be great is basically you can stream games that you want to try out. And this is very important because, like, you know how sometimes you're in the PlayStation Store, and currently the PlayStation Store is slow as all hell. Let's be completely honest here. PlayStation Store is really slow. At least in Europe, in Portugal here, it's ridiculous. It's just so slow that it's slower than games, okay? You know, like a really hardcore game that takes a lot of processing power, the store seems to take more processing power than that. So here's the thing. You're like at the store and you're like, oh, I wonder if I like this game. I'm considering buying it. And you have to go and you have to look for a demo, and maybe there's no demo, and that's a pain in the ass. And even if you do download a demo, you're downloading a demo which is not updated because it doesn't have the latest patches and whatnot. And maybe the gameplay is flawed in some way that has been fixed in the final version. You know, basically, usually when you download a demo, you're not really getting the game experience that you could be having a lot of the times. So what they're saying is that they're going to allow you to stream like the full, not the full game, obviously they're going to put like some time limit on it, I assume, something like that. But they say they're going to just allow you, like, look, you want to try out this game? Okay, you click here, you play. That's it. You just start instantly playing because that's what the Gaikai service does. They have the servers, they stream the content to you, and you start playing. Obviously, you'll see some compression probably due to codecs and whatnot. But, I mean, for you to get a good idea what the game is about, I think it's really, really good. And it would probably allow me to try out a lot more games, because a lot of times I'm like, oh man, I don't want the hassle of downloading this, installing this, then playing it for 5 minutes and discovering that it's a piece of crap that I really don't want. You know, it's such a hassle when you can just go there, press play. That I think is going to be a really cool feature, and it's going to be pretty damn sweet. And also they said that with their technology, they're going to be able to stream games onto the PlayStation 4. Now, this is not necessarily the backwards compatibility that everyone was looking for, but they said you're going to be able to play games from PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2, and PlayStation 3 on the PlayStation 4 through the streaming service. They also said that the PlayStation Vita is going to be able to stream PlayStation 4 games. Now, here's the thing, and this is very, very important. And if someone from Sony is watching me right now, let me just tell you guys, this is very, very important. I'm not exactly sure if you should have done this promise, because you've done this promise in the past. You've promised us that the Vita was going to be able to remote play games from the PlayStation 3. Like all games from the PlayStation 3. And currently, the Vita only supports like 10 titles, 12 titles, something like that, out of the massive titles of the PlayStation 3. So that is a big, big problem if you're going to promise that for the PlayStation 4, and that technology is not going to be working on release. That is going to be a big, big problem. I mean, it's really good news that they say, look, the PlayStation Vita is going to stream all of PlayStation 4's games. I'm like, that's awesome. So like I can play PlayStation 4 in my bed with my PlayStation Vita. That sounds fragging amazing. But if the technology is not there on launch, there's going to be problems. There's going to be some serious fracking problems. But anyways, that was something I was very excited about. That was probably the best thing about the whole presentation, is when they said, your PlayStation Vita is going to be able to stream PlayStation 4 games. I was like, that's awesome. But there's something I would also like to say. If the PlayStation Vita can stream PlayStation 4 games, will the PlayStation 4 be able to stream PlayStation Vita games? So that I have ways to record my PlayStation Vita, goddammit! I want to record my Vita. But anyways, that's a lot of the stuff they talked about. And then they obviously went ahead and started talking about games. And this is why I was really, really disappointed with the presentation. It's not that they started talking about games, because that's good. It's good that they talk about the games. What's bad is that you haven't shown me what the hardware looks like. You haven't given me any detailed specs. You just said, look, it's x86 architecture. x86 CPU. It's going to have an enhanced PC GPU. What the crap is an enhanced PC GPU? I realize it's a graphics card. It's a graphics card that's going to be custom made for your console. I realize this, but what is it? Is it an ATI card? Is it an NVIDIA card? What's the processor? Is it going to be an Intel processor? An AMD processor? We'd like to know this kind of stuff. But yeah, they didn't go into a lot of details about what the hardware is going to be. They didn't tell us about the resolutions, which again, I thought it would be really important if they would just say something like, you know, the PlayStation 4 is going to be able to run all games, full 1080p, 60 frames a second. And I know that would also be very important for Side Strafe. As a matter of fact, that would probably, that is a deal breaker for him, I think. So it's just, we were talking about it, and it's like, that was one of the things that really disappointed us. We didn't get to see what it looks like, and we didn't really get a lot of detail on the specs, which is important. So let's talk about the games that they've shown us. So they showed us Killzone Shadowfall, and unfortunately I can't tell you guys if it looked good or not, because again, this was a live stream, and like I told you, it was a very unstable live stream, most likely due to the ridiculous amount of people that was watching it. And the problem with it is like, look, there's this live stream, and there's a crap ton of people on it, and we're going to show gameplay footage from a game, and it's like we had to constantly switch between HD 480p and 360p, and while they were showing the games, the only thing that we could be doing was watching it at 480p, so I can't really comment on the graphics, because all I was watching was pixels the size of my toe. So, I mean, it obviously is not reflective of how good the quality of the console is going to be because we're watching it through a live stream. So, but anyways, they showed Killzone Shadowfall, which looked pretty good. It was funny because they showed this section where he does a takedown from above, and both me and another friend who were also Skyping instantly said, "Oh, look, it's Far Cry in the future," because the takedown was exactly like Far Cry. It was like a death from above, and then he picks up the knife from the other guy, throws the knife against someone else. So that felt very familiar. Then they did the whole thing where there was a chopper sequence and your dude was hanging from a chopper and shooting people and whatnot. It was cool. It looked cool. I've never really played any of the Killzone games, which is weird because, like, so you have a PlayStation 3, you never played a Killzone game? Yeah. I might buy Killzone 3. I might buy Killzone 3 and check it out because it looked kind of cool, I'll be honest. It looked kind of cool. Got me a little bit excited about it. Then they showed this game called Drive Club, and I thought the dude that was presenting the thing was going to have an orgasm for his passion about cars. Like, I'm talking about this guy loves cars. Like, this guy's life goal must be to be one of those sheikhs of, you know, one of those oil sheikhs that have all these ridiculously expensive cars. This has got to be this guy's life goal, because he was like, oh man, in these cars, and look at this experience, like, you can open the door of the car. And I was like, you can open the door of the car? That's part of your game experience. I mean, I realize maybe to some people this is really exciting, and I'm just not really a car guy, and maybe I don't get it. But it's like when he goes like he went ballistic. He was like having an orgasm while he was showing us footage of you opening the door of a car in first person. And I was like, dude, curb your enthusiasm, okay? Just keep it in your pants, man. Because he was going ballistic. He was like, oh my God, and you're going to drive as a team. It's going to be this social experience. Going to be amazing. And everyone has to play in first person. I was like, but if I'm playing in first person, I can't ram other people as good as I usually do in other games. I'm not much for a car simulation thing. You guys saw, I think the only car game that's ever showed up on my channel so far was MotorStorm Apocalypse. So that says a lot about me. No, actually, there's another one that showed up. It was Carmageddon. So yeah, I think that says a lot about the types of car games that I like, and probably this experience is not for me. But anyways, it looked like a cool game. It looked like it had a lot of detail and a lot of stuff that you could do with the cars. So if you're into that kind of thing, you can look forward to that. But it's more something that will probably please the crowd of Gran Turismo and whatnot than really other people. Then they showed a game which was funny because for starters, the dude that was doing the presentation of the game was really getting into this presentation as like, oh, it's today there's like what was it, 11,000 something CCTV cameras in Great Britain. That's like one camera for every 14. I'm not sure how many cameras it was. It was more than 11,000, but whatever. It's like there's one camera for every 14 inhabitants, and like he started going into this like conspiracy themed thing, but talking about real life stuff. And then all of a sudden he says, and now imagine if all of a sudden someone had superpowers. And I'm like, what? You're like talking about all these realistic things, and all of a sudden you're saying that imagine if someone has superpowers. And I was like, okay. And then they start showing like a dude that's just taking out other people because he's got like all these superpowers. And I'm like, that kind of looks like Infamous. And when they finish the presentation, it says Infamous Second Son. So that was a cool game. That's probably going to be a cool game. I like the Infamous franchise. I played the whole way through Infamous 1, and I haven't really started on Infamous 2 yet, but I plan on it. I definitely do plan on it, and I might end up playing this one as well, because Infamous is actually a series that I enjoy. I mean, it's kind of up my alley. You guys know, playing the third-person thing, you know, I like it. I like that kind of stuff. Then they showed this other game called The Witness, which is something I'm definitely not interested in. It was made by the creators of the game Braid, if you guys know. It was a little game where there was it was basically like a platformer that had this time reverse mechanic to it. It was cool. It was an original concept. I remember playing a little bit of it, and the reason I actually played it was because back in those days, the only thing I really had to play on was a Macintosh, and that game was available for the Macintosh, so that was one of the reasons why I played Braid. And I remember I liked the game. It's a cool game. It's a puzzle game, and The Witness is also a puzzle game, but The Witness seems to take a lot of inspiration from games like Myst, if you guys remember that. That's totally what it reminded me of, and Sidestrave said the same thing. It's like, this game reminds me of Myst. So that's probably going to be the overarching theme of The Witness, even though the graphics on it, as opposed to Myst, which kind of took the photorealistic approach, kind of, that game takes a more cartoony, artsy approach to it, but I think it's going to be in the same style. I'm not 100% sure. He says it's going to be an open world game where you're going to be able to interact with stuff and people and whatnot, so don't know. Then they showed a presentation with Media Molecule where they did some 3D sculpting using the Move, and nobody gave a damn, I don't think. We pretty much actually laughed at it because they then did a little presentation. And don't get this wrong, we laughed at it because it was cool. It was a cool presentation they did where they were using these things with, you know, they were using eye toys, and they were showing themselves, and they were fooling around with these 3D models like if they were marionettes, and playing a concert, and it was like 6 people on the video. It was kind of cool. I appreciate the concept, but it's not really something that I even care about. It was just cool as something to watch. And then Capcom came to the stage, and I was like, Capcom, Monster Hunter, give me Monster Hunter, please. And no, they didn't. They even mentioned Monster Hunter. They even said, oh man, we were so amazing with the PlayStation. We did all these titles, and we did Monster Hunter. And I was like, yes, you did. You did Monster Hunter. No, give it to me. Give it to me. And they were like, fuck you. No Monster Hunter. And I was like, oh. That was probably one of the other reasons why I didn't like the presentation, because when I saw the Capcom guy there, I was like, give me Monster Hunter. And he was like, no. I was like, okay, no, it's cool. So they talked about a new engine they're developing to take full advantage of the PlayStation 4. But to be completely honest, as he was talking about it, I was thinking, so you're saying you developed an engine specifically to work with PlayStation 4. I'm going to go ahead and call bullshit on that, and I'm just going to say that you guys are doing an engine that's your next generation engine that you're going to adapt it for PlayStation 4 and whatever console Microsoft pulls out. That's what I think. I could be wrong. It could be an engine specifically to take advantage of the PlayStation 4. That's what they tried selling it as. It's called the Panther Ray, and it's a graphics engine. And they showed a game that they're working on, and this was the most interesting game in the whole presentation for me, because it was a medieval-looking game. It looked like it had co-op. They didn't really went into any specifics. The name of the game is Deep Down. I'm going to be paying close attention to this particular title and see what comes out from there. But it looked very grim. I mean, the thing that I wanted to think about is like there were 3 characters, or was it 4 characters? I don't know. There was like an archer character. There was like a warrior character and something that looked like a priest, maybe. I'm not 100% sure. He had a robe at least. And the warrior character is shown blocking fire from a dragon, the shield almost looking as if it was melting. So that kind of got me pumped. So that's probably the one game that I was really, really excited throughout the whole presentation, was the game called Deep Down. I hope that game has co-op. I might do eventually, as new information comes out, I might be talking more about this particular game. But I hope that game has co-op. It has a lot of action. Well, a lot of action. By action, I mean, you know, like tough boss fights and stuff that you have to really work as a team. But again, it was just all the stuff that was shown was really, really super pre-alpha, so there wasn't really a whole lot to speculate about. Then Square Enix showed up and showed what looked like a pre-rendered CGI thing, which I'm not sure if it was or not. I mean, then again, the Deep Down footage that was shown could also be pre-rendered. Don't know. Don't really know. But Square Enix showed a big thing. Look, maybe it's the next Final Fantasy. I'll be honest, I kind of zoned out while that particular thing was going on, because I kind of lost a little bit of interest on Final Fantasy titles, so I really don't care that much. So whatever, Square Enix made their presentation. Then Ubisoft showed up, And this was funny. This was very funny. What's the name of the guy? Yves Guillermo, something like that. And the guy shows up and he's like, "Oh my God, and we are so excited to be working with PlayStation 4. This is going to be amazing. It's going to be the next big thing. It's going to be awesome." This was basically the guy's speech. And all I commented with Sidestrafe, because again, I was watching it with Sidestrafe, all I commented was like, I seem to remember him saying exactly these words at the Wii U presentation. You know, it's really, really douchey if you're going to go to two console events and say almost the exact same thing. Like, this is going to be the next big thing. It's going to be amazing. It's going to be awesome. We're going to do all these cool things for it. And it's like, yeah, that's exactly what you said a couple of months ago about the Wii U. Yeah, about that. So then they showed some Watch Dogs, and also the dude that was presenting the Watch Dogs, the dude that opened the footage that they presented of Watch Dogs, sounded like he was high. He was like, "Oh man, you guys won't believe how awesome this game is, man. You know, look at all these traffic lights and all this stuff and these cellular phones, and you're gonna be able to control all of it." We're like, this guy's high. He's like totally high. He has to be high. That's really the only thing I can say about him. So he looked like he was really high when he was talking about Watch Dogs. But again, they showed some more footage of Watch Dogs running on PlayStation 4. At least they said that's what it was doing. And I have to be honest, I was not impressed with the graphics at all. It did not look as impressive as what I saw at E3. So I don't know if it's like super pre-alpha, whatever, but it didn't look as impressive as I saw. I mean, sure, they did something kind of cool. The guy went after a criminal, but then something really weird happened, which I can't really explain why it happened. So basically, he follows this chick around who was about to get assaulted by a guy, and then when he gets to them, it's like it seems the guy is about to stab the chick or do something really bad, and the dude interrupts them. He pulls a gun on the dude that's about to molest the woman, and the other guy's like, "Oh no, whatever," starts running, and then you start chasing the guy, and there's a message pop up says suggested action, chase suspect. So your character starts chasing the bad guy. The bad guy pulls out a gun, starts shooting at you. You continue to pursue him. Eventually, you catch up to him. When you catch up to him, instead of killing him, you pull out a baton and you beat the crap out of the guy and just leave him there in the alley for the police to pick him up. And what happens then was just weird, because throughout all this time, your character pulled out a gun once. And after he pulled out a gun, he never really shot the gun. And instead of shooting the guy, he disabled the guy by beating him with one of those extensible sticks. And after he beats the guy, he's going out to the street, and he has the baton equipped, I think. And before going out to the street, he equips the weapon right as the police is about to show up. So the police obviously starts flashing whatever, "Woo, you know, stop, drop your weapon," whatever. So the character starts running. Then he pulls up something from the road. I don't know exactly how to call it, but basically it's like there's these, I think you might call them pins. These cylindrical shaped things come out from the floor to kind of stop cars, you know? And he pulls those up, but I think maybe he made a mistake or something during the demo. I don't know exactly what was the point, because the police car got through, but someone else crashed into it. And I was like, what was the point of that? Like, you didn't stop the police. You just made someone crash into it randomly. Then he keeps on going, and lots of police showing up, all kinds of chaos happening in the city. The guy goes up some building, whatever. Then he stops a train. And I'm like, look at all you've done to stop some woman from getting robbed or whatever, you know? I mean, the guy that was in the car was probably like going to have, you know, going to be paralysis. The guy was going to be handicapped, probably, the guy in the car, because it was a really big car accident when he pulled the pins from under the floor. So, I mean, I don't know what was the point of that thing, but then in the end he gets caught by some camera, so apparently the mission has failed because he was caught by a camera. I don't know. It was kind of weird. I didn't really figure out what was going on with that. But anyways, Watch Dogs, everybody's excited about Watch Dogs, so I'm curious to see more about it as well. It's just it seemed that the footage they shown didn't make a whole lot of sense. Then something happened that I was like, what the balls? Basically, he said, oh, and now we're going to present with one of our new partners that has never been presented with a has never been to a console presentation before. It's Blizzard. And I was like, what the frack? Blizzard? And in comes Chris Metzen. And I was like, oh no. Oh no. Why did it have to be Chris Metzen? Why couldn't you get someone else? What's the name of the dude that matters, the president? I forget his name now. I used to know his name. God damn it, I totally forgot. But whatever. Why can't the big guy come? Why it had to be fragging Chris Metzen? I hate Chris Metzen. I really do. I don't like Chris Metzen at all. And then Chris Metzen's like, oh, we're gonna be partnering up with Sony and we're gonna take over the world and it's gonna be amazing and it's gonna be this big thing. And I'm like, well, if you're saying that you're gonna take over the world, you're probably talking about World of Warcraft, right? You're gonna bring World of Warcraft to PlayStation 4? That's kind of dumb. So those were my thoughts. And then all of a sudden the guy says, so we're gonna be bringing Diablo 3, and I was like I vomited in my mouth a little bit when he said that. He's like, we're bringing Diablo 3 to PlayStation. And I was like, wow, thanks for grabbing the shittiest game you've ever made and bringing it to PlayStation. I would be a lot happier if he said, we're doing an HD version of Diablo 2 for the PlayStation. I would have been happier. Instead, no, we're bringing Diablo 3 to PlayStation. And I was like, like vomit came out of my mouth. You know, I was just like, no, I quit. I quit. I was kind of disappointed with the whole thing that they didn't show the hardware and not a whole lot of the games that really they shown mattered to me. Like, I really only cared about Deep Down, Infamous, and a little bit about Killzone. And I was like, not a whole lot of games are really, I kind of am interested in Watch Dogs, but I'm not like really that interested that I'm like, oh man, I'm going to jump on top of Watch Dogs. And like I said, the footage they shown didn't make a whole lot of sense and didn't really excite me all that much about Watch Dogs either. But then he goes Diablo 3, and I was like, son, I mean, if I was talking to Sony, I would say, son, you just went full retard. Like, you really are going to grab the crappiest game Blizzard has ever made. I mean, Lost Vikings was better than Diablo 3, okay? Maybe I'm exaggerating a little bit. Or I'm not. Here's the thing. Diablo 3 is great for your first playthrough. After your first playthrough, you're like, okay, now I'm going to be getting more drops, better drops, whatever. I'm going to be able to do stuff on higher difficulties. No. You know what happens after your first playthrough? Auction house. All you got to do is farm gold, buy gear, farm more gold, buy better gear. That's pretty much it. So that's one of the reasons I don't like Diablo 3. Diablo 2 is not like that. And yeah, that's pretty much, I mean, I wasn't excited at all. Then Activision comes on and says, oh yeah, now we're going to be bringing a developer to PlayStation, one of our developers, which hasn't really been on the PlayStation for over a decade. And he introduces Bungie. Bungie talks a little bit about Project Destiny, which honestly, I'm not really that excited about yet. I don't know. We will see. But I haven't really done a lot of research on Project Destiny, so I'm like, there's not a whole lot I can really say about it. They were like, oh yeah, Destiny is going to be coming on the PlayStation 4. And I'm like, yeah. And on the whatever Microsoft's launching next. So, whatever. So yeah, I mean, all in all, here's the thing. I'm still excited about PlayStation 4. I want to get a PlayStation 4. Like I said at the start, I'm invested in the PlayStation ecosystem. And bear in mind, this doesn't mean that, and once again, like I always say to you guys, this doesn't mean that if you like the Wii U that you shouldn't have bought a Wii U or whatever. No, it's like, look, you like the Wii U, you play the Wii U. You like whatever Microsoft's going to launch next, you play whatever Microsoft launch next. I like the PlayStation 4. I'm going to get the PlayStation 4. And here's the thing. It's like, this didn't really break my hype for the PlayStation 4, but I didn't like the presentation itself because it felt there wasn't a lot of substance to it. You know, it felt like almost Sony is just like, oh, we're going to hype it up. We're going to hype the crap out of everyone with this. And I was just like, yeah, so you're not going to tell me the price. You're not going to show me the console. You're not going to tell me about the hardware. What the hell was this presentation for anyways? To show us pretty graphics? I mean, we can see those on the PC right now. I mean, we're not that amazed. We want to know. We want to know more things. We want to know how much it's going to cost. We want to, you know, some of the stuff was cool. Like the Gaikai stuff was cool. Like I said, I am interested in that. I'm interested in the technology that's going to allow me to play PlayStation 3 and PlayStation 4 titles on my Vita. That is very interesting to me. And the Gaikai guy said that, this sounds so bad, the Gaikai guy. But the Gaikai guy said that eventually you're going to be able to just play everything on any Sony device, whatever. So that stuff is cool. The fact that it's an that it's using an x86 CPU is cool. And you guys have been wondering, why is the CPU that it's using cool? Because x86, a lot of people are used to programming to that, which basically makes it a lot easier to do software for that specific chip as opposed to the cell processor. Even though I think that if they had developed the cell processor technology and like updated it for the PlayStation 4, the PlayStation 4 would probably be even more powerful. The problem is it was going to be harder to program for. A lot of the problems that we had with PlayStation 3 this generation is because a lot of the people just develop stuff for the Xbox 360 first, because they can then do whatever they want with that thing and put it on the PC. So that's two platforms pretty much covered when you program for the Xbox 360. And it's going to look as best it's ever going to look on the Xbox 360. And then they would port it to the PlayStation 3 and the performance would be shit. So with the PlayStation 4 using x86 architecture, it's going to be easier for programmers to develop games for the PlayStation 4 and, if necessary, port games for the PlayStation 4, and it's not going to suffer as much of a performance loss as it did the previous generation. So that's kind of good news. But again, it just felt, you know, that's the thing. The whole event itself, it felt pretty weak sauce, because it's like, look, you're not really giving me anything solid here. You're just kind of saying it's going to be awesome. So you're just trying to hype us up. And I'm already hyped. I don't need this to hype me anymore, you know? I wanted specifics and I didn't got them. So I guess that's why I was disappointed. Anyways, those were my reactions to the PlayStation event. Thank you very much for watching. Leave me your comments and feedback in the comment section below, and I will see you guys in the next one.